Chapter 1. I was shot at by a guy in lederhosen when I was a teenager. True story. My friends and I were playing basketball after dark in the high school parking lot, a regular occurrence to cut down on the perpetual boredom that accompanies growing up in the world's smallest town. When he arrived, at first we didn't think much of him. Yeah, he was wearing lederhosen, but this was the backwoods of Michigan, not New York. And fashion isn't a big thing in Michigan, so we just kind of accepted it. Big mistake. Our Michigan yodeler, who was only wearing lederhosen, mind you, no shirt, no shoes, no underwear. Yeah, they were that short. Was apparently also tanked and decided the only thing better than his buzz would be our basketball and a buzz. He circled us silently, while watching us as carefully as someone who couldn't walk a straight line possibly could. He was close enough for us to smell the intoxicating combination of Old Spice and Milwaukee's Best when it happened. He darted in, stole our ball as it rimmed off after an errant shot, and immediately sprinted away into the encompassing darkness. We all stood there for a minute in surprised silence when one of the guys with me suddenly yelled, "Get him!" So, in our infinite teenage wisdom, we all decided it was a great idea to chase an almost naked, grimy guy who smelled like the world's worst hangover and follow him off the court and into the foliage-laden darkness that surrounded the school. Now, as the only girl playing with the boys, I wasn't quite as fast, so I was a few steps behind. I was momentarily scared out of my wits when a dark figure came running back from the direction everyone had just fled and barreled into me, knocking me on my ass. "He's got a gun! Run!" Now, I'm not one for being bossed around by boys, or anyone for that matter. But I decided to swallow my woman's lib and listen for a change when a loud shot rang out. Apparently, the hills were alive with the sound of not music, but gunfire. I didn't need any further encouragement. I ran, not for my car, which was out in the open and under a bright streetlight, but for downtown and safety. I ran the 3 blocks to the police station and, much to my chagrin, the only cop on duty in our 3-cop town. He was also the town's biggest jerk. "Let me get this straight," he said, while brushing down the porn mustache he'd been grooming since the 1970s, and taking in our red-rimmed eyes, and the faint smell of pot in the air that mingled with our fear. "You're saying a guy in lederhosen stole your basketball and shot at you." I'm telling you, the guy was a loser. Why would we make that up? "Maybe you're just confused," he countered, as he tried to lecherously look down my tank top. "That's what happens when you smoke pot, you know." Of course we knew. The funny thing was, so did he, since he sold to half the town, but that probably wasn't the argument to make at the time. Luckily for us, no argument was necessary. It seems our lederhosen-clad drunk had decided to make a cameo downtown, sans our basketball, but with his shotgun. We all decided on the spot to chalk the basketball up as a loss we probably didn't want back, given that the lederhosen guy was doubly armed. He had his gun in one hand and his own personal pistol in the other, and both were fully pumped, if you know what I mean. So it was no surprise that now, a full 10 years later, I wasn't awed by the similar sight in front of me, as a 300-pound bearded wonder danced in the second-story window of an apartment complex. With a handgun in one hand and his own small pistol in the other, he too was naked and, double-fisting it. Despite being safely entrenched behind police barricades, unfortunately my eyes were being assailed by the hairy beast and his little bald friend.